Welcome back to the Vintage Vinyl here at CourierJournal.com. I'm your co-host, Jeffrey Lee Puckett. This is my buddy Tom Heiser. We talk about our favorite music, mostly our favorite music,
sure,
every week, and make our lists, which are guaranteed to irritate one of you kind viewers.
And sometimes we irritate each other.
That does happen.
That happens. I don't think it's going to happen on this show.
Probably not. Probably not.
You know, we've touched on a lot of different music. We've touched on hard rock. We've touched on country. Now we're going to touch on a lot of different types of songs from one guy. From one guy, and that is...
Golden years go. Golden years.
The man, David Bowie.
David Bowie has had one of the most interesting careers, maybe the most interesting career when you think about all the different personas he's adopted over the years.
And I will say this, as far as my list goes, can't say this about your list yet, but he's one of the few musicians that actually the later stuff is just as interesting, I think, as the early stuff. We can't always say that about some of the people that we've skewered on this show. But David Bowie's one of them.
And I'm a big fan of David's newest album that came out last year.
I've only heard one track from it, and I liked it.
The next day is a really good album if you haven't listened to it. It came out of nowhere. Everybody thought he was retired. And then all of a sudden he had a new record out and seems to be re-energized.
Well, he's definitely a better dresser than we are.
Yeah,
that's for sure. And he's got some great tunes. And so I'm going to kick it off with my 10 through 6.
Let's do it.
I'm starting off with Under Pressure. I know, Queen. It's a Queen song, but it's David Bowie. David Bowie's voice makes up that whole great ending to that song. You know, that's it for me. I mean, you can't have the song without David Bowie. It's Queen and David Bowie, but David Bowie's part of it.
All right,
I can't even get to my number 9. You're already into me on this. Number 9, I'm going with Modern Love, which was a later David Bowie song, but I loved his voice in that. I know when this to go out. I know when to stay in. Number 8, I'm going with a little obscure song, Ashes to Ashes, but he was the clown persona. But I really do love that song. It's got a good reference to Major Tom and Space Oddity, which we'll hear from a little more about later. Number 7, 5 Years, a great.
Finally.
Yeah, that's a good song. I always like that song. And number 6, I'm going with Arrows, or as we like to say over here, Heroes. Even the German version, Helden. I heard the German version probably more than I heard the English version.
That's appropriate. That album was, I think that song at least was recorded in Berlin.
Oh, as we get into this a little bit later, David Bowie and Germany are inextricable in my...
They're like a this.
They're like a this in my life.
All right, my 10 through 6 starts with 5 Years, a great Ziggy Stardust, the opening track of Ziggy Stardust. Young Americans, how can you not like Young Americans?
Because it's too low. You have buried it. Oh, man. You have buried... keep going.
Suffragette City.
Oh, yes, that's good. Very good choice. That did not make my list. That's a good choice.
Thank you. Oh, You Pretty Thing, not talking to you specifically. And a great hunky-dory track. And Stay, which is from my favorite David Bowie album we'll discuss in more detail later.
Suffragette City, I like that.
That's a great riff, which we'll talk about in future shows. The great guitar riffs. Mick Ronson, David's guitarist, for perhaps his most fertile period, was the master of the riff. But Suffragette City is one of David's great rock and roll songs, I think.
I agree.
That's why it's on my list.
But,
it makes perfect sense when you bring the two ideas together.
It also makes perfect sense to me to go, love dares you to take those. That's the best part of Under Pressure. Doom, 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 doom. I'm not talking about Vanilla Ice either. Doom, 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 doom.
David Bowie has released probably 16 records, and you start with a Queen song.
I'm not starting with a Queen. It is interwoven in rock and roll. That song is Queen and David Bowie. I know. I knew I was going to catch this from you. I knew it from the very beginning. I've done this before with these with these songs at the bottom of the list that somehow don't make it past your standards, your high standards. But it's a great. Is it not a great song?
The agreement I signed when I became a music critic, in the fine print, it says songs such as, for example, i.e. Under Pressure.
So you don't like Under Pressure, is what you're telling me.
No, it's a good song.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just a Queen song. We should probably take a break and let things cool down.
We weren't supposed to get irritated.
Let's check the magic guest ball.
He's going to like Under Pressure, I bet.
I don't think our guest is going to pick Under Pressure. Let's see. Let's find just a really hardcore David Bowie fan. Maybe even one who pronounces it Bowie. Let's see what's going to happen here.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Jackson Lee Swain from the Ladybirds, also Louisville's #1 David Bowie fan.
Jello, my name is Jackson. My favorite David Bowie song of today is Word on a Wing from Station to Station.
Could have told you there's going to be no Under Pressure.
I'm in an oasis. Thinking that what a great song, Queen and David Bowie. All right.
Well, at least you get to lead off the top 5.
Yes, I do. And
Please, no Queen song.
No, but I'm going to really kick. Well, it could be a Rolling Stones song for all you. I'm going to kick it off with a great tune. I'm going to go I mean, Rebel, Rebel, you've torn your dress. Oh, I love this. This is. I'm going to say it's David Bowie's greatest rock and roll song. Your mom's in a whirl, not sure if you're a boy or a girl. We are already into rock and roll and androgyny in this song. We got it all. So it's the best. It's to me it's the of all the other things that are going on in David Bowie songs, this one's straightforward. I love it. It's rock and roll.
It's the only really good song on Diamond Dogs.
It's the best song on Diamond Dogs, that's for sure.
Which is an androgyny.
It's got
see what I'm trying to do there because of the album cover? Yeah.
Well, he does a lot better than both of us do.
Yeah, he does it really well.
All right.
Changes is my #5. I know you like that song.
Oh, I do.
You like it a little bit better than I do.
Just a little bit better, but yes.
Changes is the lead track from Hunky Dory. Maybe David's finest overall album. Maybe.
Whoa.
Might be. I don't know.
Okay, all right.
It might be.
I'm surprised to hear you say that.
It's up there.
It is up there. Oh, I'm not saying it's not. #4, I'm going with a little bit of the later stuff. And I'm expecting some slings and arrows, but I'm going with Let's Dance.
You're going to get them. Well.
Let's sway to the sound of an empty space.
Top 5 is high, but it's a great song.
It's a great song because it reintroduced me to David Bowie. I had heard the FM stuff for years, but this was kind of my teenage introduction to a new David Bowie, and it's no longer Ziggy, it's no longer the clown, no personas. If he's any persona, he's looking just like Peter O'Toole in Lawrence of Arabia. He's got the shock of white hair. He's wearing these really cool, fantastically cut Hugo Boss suits. I wanted to look like David Bowie at that point. Yeah.
Put on your red shoes and dance the blues. Let's dance to the song that play on the radio. Let's sway while color lights up your face.
But it's a great crooning song. I mean, I love Let's Dance and the whole, that whole kind of southwestern let's sway. I love that.
It's almost like a chic groove, but really slowed down and made
Yeah,
it
it's very
soulful.
slowed down. I think that's the thing I really loved about it.
For my number 4, I'm going to take a little page from the Heiser book.
A great read.
A little. It is.
It's a great read.
I usually fall asleep reading it.
No, don't do it.
Air guitar.
Yes!
Yes!
He's limbering up. He's limbering up the fingers. Oh, yes.
Ziggy Stardust. Title track, Ziggy Stardust. Another of his great rock and roll songs. Maybe not as rockin' as Rebel Rebel. I'll give you that. But the epitome of the Spiders from Mars.
Yes.
The whole storyline, the whole concept, it's all wrapped up in Ziggy.
I may have misspoken. I think maybe Ziggy's that's probably the real rock song. Rebel Rebel maybe crosses over into a little bit of punk, a little bit of, you know.
But think about Suffragette City, which is like Little Richard.
Yeah.
You know, or Jerry Lee.
Yes.
Or some combination of both. Some David Bowie combination of
I can see that.
Yeah.
See that?
Yeah. He could rock it when he wanted to.
Well, few and far between. Like you said, there was always some underlying, you know, little story to be told. Number 3, I'm going to go a little bit higher than your number 5 with Changes. I love Change. Change. Doom, 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 doom. I love the beginning of that. Just as much as I love Rebel Rebel. That really hard charging, then that slow down.
Oh, that beautiful saxophone solo. Yeah, yeah.
I can trace time.
But Changes is very important to me. Spent a lot of time, as you know, serving our great country while in Germany. And David Bowie at that time was kind of like, I want to say, the Beatles. Let's say in 60s Germany. His music never really kind of died out. It was very popular among all the Germans that I knew. You go to discotheques, the music was always being played. There were David Bowie posters everywhere. It was also, David Bowie music was the soundtrack to a very grim, very dismal picture that came out of Germany at that time called Christiana F., which is about heroin-addicted teenage prostitutes hanging out at train stations in Berlin.
I used to go out with Christiana.
Wow, well, I'll tell you what, at least you made it.
She was a handful.
A lot of her friends in that movie did not make it. And I'm telling you, this movie will really bring you down. For all the drug movies that you may have seen, whether Drugstore Cowboy, Panic in Needle Park, Train Spotting, that ain't nothing. That's Mary Poppins compared to Christiana F. But throughout the movie, these teenagers, they're reaching out, and the music they're listening to throughout the whole film is a soundtrack of David Bowie music. And it was very influential to me at the time.
My number 3 is TVC-15. That's a station-to-station track. Station to Station, actually the album that inspired David to move from Los Angeles to Berlin, ironically, to clean up a cocaine addiction.
Really?
Yes.
So to me, that'd be like moving to Hazard to get away from moonshine.
Or meth.
Or meth, sure.
Or both. Or both.
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
But TVC-15 is a crazy good song, and here's what's funny is that David to this day claims he cannot remember making Station to Station because they were doing so much cocaine that it's all a whiteout. That whole period is a whiteout.
So like you just wake up one day
and you have a new album.
She jumped right in the mind. She jumped right in the mind. So hologramic, my TVC will vibe. Oh, so demonic, my TVC will vibe. Transition.
and it's wow. That's can we do that this week? You know, or next week?
Well,
can we binge one week and then turn around and we got a show?
Yeah, let's try it.
I'm all for it. Hey, I'm all for it.
Can we expense account this?
That's a good story. Without story time, that's a very good story.
All right.
Number two, I'm going with another great song that I love that, once again, David Bowie was talking about me, the young American. I mean, you know how tough it was to be the young American, being groped upon, being sought out by all these European women. Yes, that was the young American. She wants the young American all night.
All night she wants a young American. Young American, young American. She wants a young American. So all night she wants a young American.
It's probably the only David Bowie song that I love that's very R&B. It was inspired. Luther Vandross, in fact, was the inspiration behind the vocal background or the backup singers. I love that part of it. It's a fantastic tune.
Did any of those German hotties turn out to be dudes?
No, they did not.
They were all?
I was not
All the
drug-addled
parts
enough. no, and now you've said you love the song.
Oh, I love the song. I tried to sing it once at karaoke on the occasion of my 45th birthday.
Nice.
Because I thought it would be funny to sing.
Where was this at?
This was before I got banned from Akiko's.
Nice.
But I did not count on it having roughly 400 lines of words.
So it's basically you were saying you might as well have just sung the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Yes, and you have to sing it really fast. They just come at you.
Yeah,
they just come at you and come at you and come at you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough.
Richard Nixon references.
Life on Mars is my number 2.
Ah, very nice.
You like that one?
Nice. That's a good choice.
Life on Mars is a little mini movie to me. I don't know what it's about. I don't know what David Bowie's about. David Bowie is a mystery to me.
To the seat with the clearest view, and she's hooked to the silver screen. But the film is a saddening bore, 'cause she's lived it 10 times or more. It's about to be lived again.
But Life on Mars is another hunky-dory song.
Very surprised that you're not going with Ziggy. With you've been prone in past shows to pick 3, sometimes 4 songs off
From
an
one album. Yep.
I think I did. I would have picked you for Ziggy.
I think I did.
Maybe Fame.
I think I did 3 songs off Hunky Dory.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
None off Fame.
There you go. Fame. Oh, the one with Lennon?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Fame's an okay song. I don't really know that album all that well, to tell you the truth.
It's time for our number ones, and I don't think I have to be too mysterious about where I'm going with this. I'm going with number 1, A Space Oddity, and there's one reason, baby.
Why?
It is Ground Control to Major Tom. That's right. I may have only been risen to the rank of sergeant in my career, but a couple of times a year during a Brews and Tunes night after many a Hefeweizen, I was promoted in the field to major. As I said, this is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door.
And I'm floating in a most of the cute way. And the stars look very different today. For here am I floating in my tune.
Oh, I love it. It is such a great tune, and I like in the middle of the do 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 do. I love how it picks up, and then it gets very mellow again. As you know, it's obviously this is ground control to Major Tom. He's falling out into space. He's lost. And I love how it gets followed up. It's part of Ashes to Ashes. The reference there to Major Tom's a junkie, and even as I was talking about the German love for David Bowie, Peter Schilling, following up with his song Major Tom, fall 3 to earth below. That was a very big song.
Yeah, it was a big song.
But it was a big song on MTV. It was a big song here.
Yeah.
And it owes itself to David Bowie and Space Oddity.
David is also self-referential, as you mentioned with Ashes to Ashes, which references Space Oddity. But David's new album, the Next Day album that I mentioned earlier, it very much recalls the whole Berlin trilogy period as far as the sonics of the album and some of the subject matter. And even the album cover, he took the album cover from Heroes, scratched out the word Heroes, and put The Next Day next to it, and then replaced his picture from the Heroes album cover with a giant white block.
Nice.
So it's basically just him saying, I think that might be his favorite period of making music. That's my theory. And it is responsible for my favorite David Bowie song, which is Heroes, the title track of Heroes.
Goes all the way up to #1. Interesting.
#1. I've just always been fascinated by this song. I love the imagery. I just love the. It's very emotional, powerful. It's a song that always felt like it was about self-actualization and.
You're getting pretty deep here.
Yeah.
This is very deep.
I can't remember. Shut above our heads, all around our heads, and we can't. There's nothing could fall.
This was all came from a therapy session. But it's just a song that I think I'll be listening to. It'll probably be at my wake. If my buddies will pay attention and actually use the songs I provide for my wake, if you're still around.
Well, I was planning on karaokeing Under Pressure. but if we don't get that far, well, that's fine. I'll go off the playlist. But maybe it's an encore.
That would be Heiser's ultimate revenge. Just toss my list of death songs.
That's right.
And just play all the stuff he wants.
Yes.
All right. Well, here's a look at our top 10. You don't even have to pay attention to Heiser's because it has some terrible songs.
Well, you've only mentioned Under Pressure being terrible. You haven't said what the other.
I know it's well, you have Heroes, obviously. You have 5 Years. Really,
I don't think you're a fan of Modern Love. I mean, that's.
It's an okay song.
Okay.
I don't know about 10 being in the top 10. But you get attached to things.
I did get attached to that, and I can definitely say that I was very surprised at your pick. I just thought there'd be more Ziggy. Not that I'm not pleasantly surprised at the choices on there. Suffragette City, I think, is just fantastic. That was playing around at the end. So was The Man Who Sold the World, was playing around on my list. But I think we got a good starter.
Yeah.
Starting kit.
Yeah. We'd like to hear about your starting kit for David Bowie. So shoot us a Twitter. Shoot us a Twitter. Shoot us a Twitter at CJ Vinyl, or go to our Facebook page, the Vintage Vinyl Facebook page, where you can join a whole little community of freaks and geeks who like to argue about music. It's fun. No, it's been a while since we heard from Mom.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't wait. Mom, hi. What's going on?
Ask Major Tom if he wants some tang with his PB&J.
She recognizes the rank. But you got to salute me, Major Tom. This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door.
Yeah, I'm going to leave you two alone. And check back with us next week for another episode of the Vintage Vinyl here at CourierJournal.com. Thank you.
Very much.